talent take even a game really off this Trojans team. Maybe they'll come out and surprise us. I hope they do. But ladies and gentlemen, we are getting started. Game 1 of the best of 5 series between the Trojans and the Owls in AAA. Let's get started, Cubics.
Let's get it going.
And getting first kickoff. And I mean, already, Cream v. Spacey. And, we talk about Spacey's got to be the catalyst, and he needs a teammate to help him. You think he's got what it takes in him tonight?
Well, I think if the Owls are going to win, he's going to have to be kind of the hard carry, to be fair. I think in terms of teammates helping, ooh, that's not going to do it. Mux with a great pinch off that wall. Good read, actually, off of this one to get that 50 to go just straight in the net. Possibly a little luck associated, but 14 seconds in, Trojans already here.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good clear. Dog keeps that on his hood for far too long, so it's just an easy one challenge, and it pops in. If you're the Owls, you have to find a level of gameplay tonight that you have not previously played all season, right? Just by virtue of the fact that the Trojans are #1. So you've got to play fast, you got to play quick, and very few mistakes can come out from your team. It's a harsh reality, but it's the way you're going to have to play to beat a team like this. So maybe not the start they wanted. We have to see if they got the mental to bring them back.
You can already see, just by the way that the Trojans are playing here, they're already living on the offense. The ball, I don't think, has ever been in their half this game. I think that's pretty safe to say. But, yeah, here we go. They got it across half after about 52 seconds. But we'll see if they can keep the pressure up here. And the Owls are going to have to find a way. And I think for them, it's going to be a transition goal one way or another if they are going to even this game up. But they're going to have to play a lot of really solid defense for this to work.
Yeah, and honestly, I think maybe one of their big advantages, or like the way that they might need to approach this, is that a team like the Trojans are good on transition, but that's going to be your best opportunity against any good team, right? Transition quickly and well. So like put it downfield to a teammate or something, and you can score. But no defender here. That was dangerous, and a good save comes out from Revy scrambling back for this Owls team.
That a crucial and good save there as well. The transition play almost worked. They almost got it through. Good props on that one. They almost made it work. And that's going to be the type of play that we need to see out of this team to really make sure that they can take a game off here. I think that's really going to be their main goal, is even just to get one game tonight. Be huge for their confidence. And like I mentioned, if they can get one game and then use that confidence to get them back to 4-6 in the next game, they could be right back in that playoff hunt, depending on how tomorrow goes for some of these teams. Whoa, as that one's also a very close shot on net there by the Owls, but some good offensive pressure in that little moment, and I think that shows that they've got some offensive life in this game.
It does, but we started to see too the issue that we talked about with the Owls all season long, where you had such a good offense initiated. Spacey pops that ball downfield. He's got Dog there for a 1-2 shot that honestly had a good chance of going in, the way the defense from the Trojans was. And okay, just taking it off the hood of the Trojans is Revy, and he'll score the first goal for the Owls team and tie us up here.
Pea shooter taking that a little too slow and made it very easy for Revy to read, and ends up in the back of his net. Not at all what he intended. I think tried to buy some time for his team, and as they pushed up as a unit, didn't quite work out. And this thing is tied. And that could be huge for the Owls. If they can get the win here, or even if they take it to overtime, I think that's confidence for them. But I think either way, after this game, I don't think the Trojans will drop one. If it goes to OT, or if it goes in favor of the Owls, just because they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, these guys are here to play. We got to actually put on our big boy pants and actually play this thing out now. But I think so far the resilience that the Owls are showing on the defense, they've been playing fairly well. Mux is going to be able to squeak one in, though, and give the Trojans back that 1-goal lead. And I would say crucial, but we almost expect more from the Trojans right now.
Yeah, they're playing slower than I would have thought coming into this game. Maybe it's first game jitters, or you didn't warm up or whatever. But they just did there what they do best. They stifled the defense of the Owls. They just kept shooting and kept putting it up there until the Owls made a mistake, couldn't get to the ball, and they scored it on them. What I was saying before was you had the pass from Spacey to Bezo, who just, the comms weren't there. So he just leaves, and that shot turns into nothing. And so you get the goal from Revy, which was a little mistake on P Shooter's part, but it wasn't initiated properly, right? And so now we finally got an opportunity. A good play actually comes out to tie us up. Credit to hanging in there for these Owls. And I know we sound like Trojan fanboys right now, but the Owls actually are looking okay. They're not letting this mental of Trojans are just better get to them, and they're playing some, when they can get there, good offense.
Yeah, they've actually been showing great offensive prowess so far in this game. Only 5 shots to their name, but I could name most of them, and I think that's a really good showing. They've had some great chances when they've had the pressure, and they've ended up finding the back of the net twice, which I think is more than we would have thought, really, for this team. And Trojans, like you said, coming out with a lower octane pace here, not as high flying as we would have thought. We would have thought the game, I think, looked a lot more like the first minute, and it's really shifted to be a much more even series, and the records would not dictate so coming into this game, but Owls putting up a great fight so far.
They are, and another one's coming through here. Revy almost able to get there, but he gets demoed by Mux. That's a good heads-up demo. Oh, and a double miss, though. That's dangerous. I think where the Owls are excelling, and this is not a knock on the Owls, but I think where they're excelling is you'll notice sometimes they whiff, and because they whiff, it looks like the Trojans don't understand how to read that. Remember, all their previous games have been against like pretty decent teams, right? They just played the Dolphins and some other teams. So they almost look confused. And you'll actually watch them miss or misplay when they see this team miss. And then they transition downfield, and maybe the Trojans are expecting a miss from the Owls, then they don't miss. Though this could be dangerous. 0-second Mux. No! He puts it too close, and we head to OT game 1.
That's huge for the Owls. They have a shot to win this now. All they need is, well, I wouldn't say lucky, but they need one good play here. And they could take game 1, which, like you said, could be an absolute rattler for this team, for this Trojans team. And we could see a much closer series because of that thrown confidence, really. You can toss that out the window if the Owls take this in overtime. If they don't, I think you see a pretty good bounce back here in game 2 from the Trojans, though. Knowing that they can win and beat this team. We'll see if that happens here. 30 seconds in, pretty even played. To be fair, the Owls doing a great job of keeping the possession even and the shots not dangerous coming in from this Trojans team so far.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, my MVP is Spacey. I know Revy's the one with all the points right now, but Spacey has consistently bought his team space in the midfield and got them open and available to score over and over and over again. He has stifled this Trojans team in the midfield. We talked about how he would need to do that, and he's doing an excellent job of enabling his teammates to feel comfortable enough to move forward, to shoot it, to do something and make these little touch plays like he just did there. Trojans, I mean, I think the longer this game drags on, the more at a disadvantage they are. Though it looks like maybe we have a disconnect from Bizodog. This could be easy for the Trojans. Oh, he's back now. He just was sitting there for a very long time before he started to rotate back, and I wonder if that was maybe a disconnect. But I think the longer this goes on, the more rattled you're going to get if you're the Trojans, because this game, in your mind should be over, and a shot on. P-Shooter's going to have to save that. A good save does come through, but they're pathing through all their corner defensive boosts, and that is not how the Trojans like to play.
Man, the Owls have been doing such a good job of holding their pressure on offense. And really using it to their advantage, although this dangerous. The bump play in, Bizodog there with the recovery. Great play to make sure that doesn't go in, and they could have another offensive opportunity here, but Revy able to make that save on the transition. And the Owls having to play defense, haven't had to do a lot. That very dangerous. Haven't had to do a lot of that in this overtime. They've been playing very well and very much on the offensive things. That's so awkward. Mux can't get it on, though. Cream fires it over. Third time's a charm there. B-Shooter finally able to put that one in, and Trojans take a much closer game 1 than we would have thought.
Yeah, misplay from Revy sort of seals the deal there. Too close in the center of net, so it's awkward and Trojans benefit, but that was a good showing overall from the Owls, right? I mean, you came out, you didn't force a lot. You got some good offense going. You can tell by the shot totals. Mux sort of having to put the team on his back. And you found some ways that you can bring this match back, right? P-Shooter was making a lot of mistakes that they were taking advantage of. I'm not sure how reliable that would be as a strategy, but I definitely think if you're going to look for a weak link player, maybe that's where you're going to be starting to look, particularly after the goal taken off his hood, right? but that transition downfield they had really well. And we noticed that the Trojans, I talked about on the desk that possibly they'd have an issue on defense. They have 8 saves this game, but they looked funky, right? I mean, coming through here. So the defense was shaky at times, and the Owls, if they can keep performing like that, I think we're in for a much closer series going forward. Still, though, at the end of the day, the Owls making more mistakes than the Trojans, and credit to the Trojans. They hung in there, they got it done, didn't get the nerves to rattle them, and they scored in the end.
Another thing to note about that game is the Owls took 100% notice of the Trojans' defensive mistakes and capitalized on them whenever they possibly could. And I don't think they are going to have the same type of high quality execution of that. And that's not anything against the Owls, but it's just you can't keep that level of consistently capitalizing on a team's mistakes over a couple of games, which I think is the main way that they're going to score. And unless they hold down on defense even better than they did in that first game, even with 7 saves, I think this game goes the way of the Trojans much easier.
But you did find the transitional rotation to work very well for the Owls in terms of just pop it downfield, get it over their heads, and see what you can make work. It's not an efficient strategy, but it's one that works. And already working here, Spacey upfield, but he can't corral that one onto net. So a good opportunity, and I like the aggression. But when we talk about these good opportunities, they have to be finished. You're playing a team like the Trojans, you can't afford to leave any points on the table.
Yeah, I was just talking about how good they were at capitalizing on opportunities as Spacey misses that one, and that, unlike him, for sure. It's a little unfortunate there, and that would have been a great start to this game for the Owls, and one that they would have loved to have for confidence pieces here. I think they need that kind of confidence to be able to win this game. And even after a performance like Game 1, if they win Game 2, it shows that the Trojans are staying shaky, which is not a good look. And I think the Owls could have some prowess to come out and take the series if they're able to take this game.
They could, and they're rotating well enough. It's so touched. There you go. Almost a miscom, but Revy calls him off and is able to aerial this one in. No defender there at all. P-Shooter goes for the boost. Mux can't get there. He also, it looks like, goes for boost. And Revy's just like, sure. I mean, if it's open, if you invite me into your home, why not? And they score first here in Game 2.
I'll come take your cookies.
I wasn't going to say it in so many words because somebody's about to clip that and make it a stream notice and all kinds of ways. But you know what? It's fine. Owls, I've been impressed. They had a few errors this start of this game, right? They forced a few things. But on the whole, I mean, these Trojans, they're just looking uncomfortable on defense. And it's in part due to their defensive rotation, right? That defensive rotation has been really bad for them so far. They need to clean that up. They're bumping each other and things like that. And another opportunity here for the Owls.
Yeah, they've gotten some good offensive pressure. Another miss. Dog looking for the shot, and Spacey's going to score that one. The first member of the Owls to score that's not named Revy. And that's just, again, another super shaky defensive rotation from the Trojans leads to that goal. And the Owls, with 5 shots, getting 2 goals already in this game. They've been the higher-powered forward team. And it seems like the fact that the Trojans have had to play defense has shaken them so much that they haven't been able to get back on offense where they thrive. And I think after this game as well, it's going to be huge to see if that aspect of their game can be taken advantage of by other teams in this league. And we'll see if that leads to them losing a lot more games down the line here.
Opportunity, though. Good touch from P-Shooter. Pizzo, he's not quite ready for that, but they make the save on the goal line. And that still, though, getting shot on, and that's a great shot from P-Shooter. You put a shot on like that, and it sits there. It's very easy for you to rotate out and be like, I can't believe that didn't go in. P-Shooter says, nope, I'm going to stay here. They keep the rotations in, and he's able to bury that one back of the net to get them within 1.
That's that suffocating offense that we were talking about with the Trojans. We've seen that a lot throughout the season, and in this game now we're starting to see it. That should be a catalyst here for this team to get some more offense going. So yeah. Thank you for proving my point, Mux. That's gonna go in. Nice shot.
And this is again where the Owls struggle. They were doing very good when you could consistently break the tempo of the Trojans. It's how you get the first 2 goals. You're always on offense. You own the possession. Except in the last 20 seconds, they decided that they let the Trojans break out of their half, right? And then they're Revy, flat-footed. He half challenges, but then quits on the challenge. So now you've got so much time if you're Cream. He pops at center. Everybody's caught flat-footed, and they get scored on. You cannot afford to make those kind of mistakes. You can't get caught flat-footed on the defense. Both teams struggling with it right now, but the Trojans finally using it to their advantage and taking something from these Owls.
Yeah, the Owls have looked phenomenal, though. When they've had that possession, they've looked good and really have been keeping up with the tempo of the Trojans. They've never looked like they have been completely on the back foot, really at any point in this series, which has been amazing to see. And they've been looking very good. And we'll see if they can continue that throughout the last 100 seconds of this game. And they're going to need to get another goal here at some point. Going to need to break through this defense yet again. We've seen it a couple times in this game already in a couple of really good ways as well, and I think that they can do it again. It's going to be about gaining possession for an extended period of time, though, and being able to hold the ball in that blue half.
Yeah, and I actually have loved the match transition we've actually seen from the Trojans. They recognized that the Owls were beating them a lot on these banger downfield clears that sort of lead to transitions. What we were talking about game 1 they needed to do. Well, what did they do? They have started to throw both of their defenders back on their own defensive half, leave one guy to challenge. So when the Owls decide they want to bang this downfield, you've got 2 guys ready and waiting in the wings to take that ball back upfield. And they've noticed that the Owls look really uncomfortable as a whole trying to possess the ball, particularly in their own half. So they let them possess it, they challenge them, and they punish their mistakes. But a mistake here means this is dangerous. Owls opportunity, P-Shooter beats 2. That's a dangerous double. They could smell the goal, but the miss from Lux ends up ruining that offensive pressure either. A lot of mistakes, and we're just still sort of hanging out in the half field.
So many defensive mistakes there from the Trojans, and not able to capitalize on any of them were the Owls. And then a double commit comes out, and the Trojans miss again. It's like these teams don't want to score. They've just not been able to get those transitions down or the shots down if you're the Owls. And it looks like we might be headed to overtime for the second game in a row.
And this is worse for the Owls, I believe, than it is for the Trojans. The Owls actually had a really good shot opportunity there in the end. They couldn't quite keep the ball up. And now you let the Trojans reset. Ball already floating on the Owls' half, and this is where the Trojans thrive. Full on offensive pressure. Opportunity here, if you can get this one downfield and score quick on a transition, but on the whole, Trojans should be favored in the OT.
Yeah, we saw them win the last one. Spacey having to make a save off the crossbar there. We'll see if he can get a second. No, Mux with some space. Not going to work out. P-Shooter with the shot on. Bizodog with the save again. It's left open. Mux goes wide. Cream also goes wide, though. The ball out into space. It looks like P-Shooter going to get there first. Well, at least wins that 50. And it's been a lot more even in OT so far than I would have thought, considering what we saw in the last bit there. It seemed like that was the Owls' kind of last-ditch effort, trying to win it in regulation, and then they didn't. And I would have thought the Trojans would have come out and not dominated, but held a lot more possessions than they have so far. But the Owls really doing a good job of keeping the game even and in their hands as well. They still have the ability to win this game when they get a good opportunity too. So we'll see if that comes right here on this transition.
Yeah, but the Trojans have done an excellent job of, they're not rushing anything, right? They were constantly working the body, stealing boosts, and a good save comes out there from Cream, but they were working, just working the ball around. They weren't forcing anything. So it was making the Owls look weird on defense, and the Trojans were taking the tempo, and they controlled the pace of play, which is how they love to play. But at the key moment, they were letting off the gas. And so the Owls, though they looked like they were getting stifled, they didn't have any boost, the Trojans let them escape again. And now it's really anybody's game. And again, I think the same thing as game 1. I know that the Trojans won that OT, but the longer OT goes, the more I think it favors the Owls.
That's for sure. As we hit that 2-minute mark, I think you can start to see where the Trojans have kind of lost a little bit of confidence again and going back into the last 30 seconds of regulation again, and where the Owls dominated that possession. They were making defensive mistakes. As you see here, the Trojans have been forced to be on the defense, I think, a lot more than they would have liked, and it's making the Owls look a lot more dangerous. And as we hit that 2:30 mark, even in this overtime, I think you start to see the momentum kind of shift towards the Owls. They've gotten a lot of defense. Crean going for the double. Good save by Spacey, though, off that backboard, not allowing that double tap to happen. The pass not going to come out. There's some space here for the Owls on this counter attack. We'll see if they can do anything with it.
Would you say there's some Spacey here? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But either way, it's been good defense, right, from the Owls. There's a couple things we'll talk about after this game that they maybe need to clean up. But I mean, the Trojans, they're looking okay. And again, you see right here where they were back on their defense. Can the Owls adjust? If they can, I still think they take this OT as we are 3 minutes in. Dangerous shot comes off. And those side posts for both teams, man, have been just incredible defenders this game and this series.
4th and 5th men for both teams.
Oh, the ball's just there. Where's nobody? Nobody's there from the Owls.
Nobody's going. When you have lack of commitment like that, you have to think it's a comms issue for both teams. It's like somebody's got to be there for one team. Probably both, but when you get nobody like that on a wide open ball, you have to think that there's a little bit of miscommunication.
No. Okay. Muck scared me a little bit. He started to go, then backed off, and that's always really dangerous. Oh, there's an opportunity, though. Good for demo, but a good dodge from Spacey. He had a teammate come through anyways, but still an incredible feat there to make sure that ball gets saved, not get demo. Now he's got to touch this one, but it's not going to matter. And again, the Trojans, they outlast the Owls. Owls get flat-footed on defense, and the Trojans just bury it to take game 2 and a 2-0 lead in the series.
I'd say barely bury it. They really had to have things go wrong for the Owls on defense for them to score that game. And if you had told me that these teams were as far separated in standings as they were, I would have called you crazy. This is looking like a much more even match, even though the shots are heavily in favor of the Trojans, 17-9. They really look like the Owls had the same amount of quality chances that the Trojans did. Even though they were throwing it on, they were hitting the posts a lot, not really getting the dangerous touches. Like, a lot of them were just barely missing the net. And I think when you look at how the Trojans played in that game, there's so much that they can do to just be a lot better, and it comes down to whiffing on some of the stuff on the defensive end. And they like we've mentioned, they have looked shaky when they've been forced to play on defense, and that's when the Owls have come through and really been the better team. And we got to see more of that in this game if the Owls are going to make this reverse sweep happen. And oh boy, would I love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see this one go the distance, but I think for me, the problem that I have right now with the Owls is twofold. They double commit a ton. Beezerdog has done this quite a bit between their second and third man. When they smell a goal, they're both up. They want that stat. Problem is, it's almost never worked. And so the Trojans are able to buy time and space going forward. We will see Revy stay in, but Spacey actually comes out for Tater. I really don't like this sub going into game 3 because I thought Spacey has been a hard rock for this team all series, but we'll see if it helps them, right? I mean, statistically, Spacey is the lowest MMR on the team, so you'd assume Tater would be okay. But the other thing for them is simply they get caught flat-footed too much, this Owls team. You can't do that if you want to play a team against the Trojans, who they look so shaky that this was a winnable game coming out of the gate for the Owls, but they sort of let it go away. Again, I don't like this sub, but we'll get to see here if it changes anything. But 2 downloads come out, and that ball's free. Crean, you know, he makes sure he maybe try to secure it for the stats, but P-Shooter will get it anyways, and Trojans will start up 1-0, and they have owned the first 30 seconds of this game 3.
Yeah, they've been looking dominant so far. With the sub for Tater coming in for Spacey, it's like you threw a magic 8-ball and are waiting 5 minutes to see what kind of shake-up you get from it, and if it'll shake up this Trojans team. Whew, that one going off the bar, but the Trojans looking a lot more like themselves, I think, in this game, playing a lot more on the offensive end, and the pressure has seemingly not quite been the same for the Owls.
Yeah, so it's twofold that, in my opinion. First of all, Spacey, again, was a hard rock for this team, but you subbed out the only guy that anyone in AAA respects off this team. Now, whether that should be or not, it just, when you go in AAA chat, that's the vibe you get, right? People always say, well, Spacey is the Owls, and it's unfortunate, and hashtag free Spacey, and all that, although Revy will tie us up here off a mistouch again from the Trojans on defense. And a miss there from Mux, then a mistouch here from Cream, just bad to worse. It wasn't even on, and Cream sort of corrects it. Misplay there, but you subbed out the only guy that they respect or are worried about. So now, Trojans probably feel a lot more comfortable to get on offense, but you saw there, defense for the Trojans. Maybe is going to be a sticking point for when you get these teams to play them on how they can be beat.
Yeah, I think that too, and I think you can see that in Revy's play style, how he has been the one that has been so consistently countering the sloppy defense from the Trojans at times. Whenever they make those mistakes, it seems to be Revy is the one that's capitalizing on those. All 4 of his goals in this series have come that way, and at the beginning, as I was saying, I thought it was going to have to be Bizo to step up and get those goals, but turns out it's Revy in this game, and he would have been the next best man for the job. Ooh, that's a clean passing play. Team bump coming up from Tater as well. That barely going to go off. This pass coming across, too, could have been bad. The shooter doesn't read it. And, yeah, Revy's been the goal scorer for this team in this series. Not what we were expecting, but he's looked pretty good at getting those defensive counters.
He has, and a good save from him there as you talk about him. He has stepped up to be the leader of this team right now, and he's doing a great job. But right, you still, I think, need to go ahead and get a second goal here before the Trojans do, or they'll regain some momentum. We actually have seen that they've fallen off a tad bit, right? They're struggling on their transitional rotations this game, I think, more than any other. Opportunity here that was open. Maybe leave that for Tater, but either way, the Trojans able to escape disaster, and now Pishi are looking to get something done. It's a good 50 in the midfield. So if you're the Owls, you have to beat this team together, right? You have to pass, get something going. They've had flashes of it, but I think they need to score next if they want to take this game and start the reverse sweep train for this.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. They have to get the next goal. If they don't get the next goal, I think that's a series right there, purely on a momentum standpoint. For the Trojans, playing with even a 1-goal lead, mentally, I think that's too much to overcome for the Owls. But if they can score the next goal, I think they can hold off for a minute 45 with the lead, or a minute 30, or a minute 15 with the lead when they get it to go. But I don't think they're going to be able to get 2 more, if you can see where I'm coming from on that kind of play. I think they can get 1 and hold on, but that's going to be how they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and I think that there are a bunch of flaws, though, for these Trojans, flaws that we had talked about before, but maybe didn't really get to see until the Owls have pushed them here. Stuff that I'd like to see them try to clean up towards this back. Even if you lose this game, right? You got a whole series to work with because you're up 2. And a good touch actually from Tater, but a better save from P-Shooter. Still the ball floating in front of the Trojans net. You gotta get that one away. And Bizo's like, I'll shoot it as many times as it takes to score this one and put the Owls up. This is what we said. Minute left. This is their game now to lose. For the Trojans, though, one of the biggest problems I've noticed is they look so good when it's Mux plus Cream, offensive possession, getting some doubles, working with each other. But P-Shooter has consistently sat on the Owls half this game. It's a flaw that I had brought up in the preseason. And when he does that, you force him into the rotation. See again, Cream, downfield, air carry, pops it over 1. Mux is there ready to go. This is their bread and butter to tie it up. Don't let P-Shooter sit downfield all the time. But a good tie-up goal here. And maybe crushing the hook to the Owls.
Stop. He fakes out Revy, goes low on 1, gets the flip reset off the bar to get by 2, and gives Mux the easiest pass of his life. And one thing I was going to mention on the last goal for the Owls before they got scored on in 11 seconds was Tater's positioning on that one. I actually really liked it. He was out of boost, but kind of stayed in a position where he could recenter the ball very easily no matter where it went on that wall. And that made it very easy for Bizodog to get that goal. And that's what gave them the lead. But couldn't hold on defense for just a little bit longer. And only 11 seconds go off that clock.
Oh,
and
no,
now...
the double! Too thirsty. This is what we talked about, right? You cannot send your second and third man there because you feel the goal. This can't happen. And they have done this all series long, and they pay for it here in Game 3.
And it looks like that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin as well. You had to hold on for 65 seconds, and they end up giving 2 in just 50. And definitely not long enough. That's a great save by Tater, though. Got to give it to him in the waning seconds of this game. Oh, could we see some 0-second miracle here? Well, it's going to need to be big. That demo could very well seal the deal. Can they get the spike? No, but it hits awkwardly off the corner. Bezo gets a touch, but can't keep it up. And the Trojans get the sweep.
Trojans! Go Trojans!
Stop it, okay? Hey, it's better than when I
The
said
Joe Rogans get that dub. Let's go!
The Trojans get the sweep, and I think for the Owls, you got to be kind of impressed with how you played. I thought it was a very even series, to be fair, all around. 2 overtimes, 3-2 in every game, and some great defensive play and good counter of the poor defense from the Trojans. Yes, I said it again. I tried to correct myself, but realized it would be better if I kept with the meme. But the Trojans, were not as dominant as we would have thought in that game, and I think that's going to be something that they're going to look to bounce back with and look a little bit more dominant tomorrow. And Owls, you can definitely take some confidence out of how you played in this game. Looked pretty even for a lot of those games with the best team in the league. So we'll see what they can do tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's a good win for them. You're 9-0. You got the dub in a sweep, but I think for them personally, they're going to come out of this game saying that was terrible from us, right? Because in a lot of ways, it was, in the sense that I don't think a Trojans team that you would go, yeah, they're 9-0, right? It was a weaker performance, but that happens. The more you win like that, the harder it is, I think, to pull out your full potential. And particularly when you're on stream, there's some nerves as well. But there were, like I said, you got to make sure that P Shooter doesn't stay on the offense that much. They struggled when that happened. They looked really good when they were allowed to have Cream and Mux go on the offense. You played an Owls team who looked good, better than you would expect, but still didn't look good. We talked about they couldn't do those midfield double commits. They did it over and over again, and they pay for it, unfortunately, at the end of game 3. And I still don't quite understand the sub. Tater looked like a good player, do not get me wrong, but Spacey simply looked better. And why do you pull him out? Bezo Dog would have probably been the one I pulled out there. Either way, you held it close, but close doesn't matter. When you're a team now that's 3-6, you need to find some dubs. You got to pull them out. They need to be close wins, not close losses. So overall, it was a surprisingly good game from the Owls. The Trojans, they still got the dub, and credit to them. And there's a lot that I think they would not perform it like that for other games. It was an interesting series for sure. Both teams, a lot they